And didn't you say that from field to flake, post toasties never lose their fresh corn flavor? Yes or no?
Yes.
That they're quick toasted to capture that fresh corn flavor. That they're so light and crisp they just about float into your bowl.
Yes, yes, yes.
Do you remember Ron Howard from The Andy Griffith Show? His portrayal of Opie Taylor not only played a pivotal role in his rise to stardom, but also intertwined his identity with the beloved character. The show's on-screen personas resonated deeply with fans, forging a special connection that endures even today. The series remains timeless, with its characters becoming like cherished friends to its audience. While fans were enchanted by the show's remarkable charms, darker secrets brewed behind the scenes. So what was really happening off-camera? Could Ron Howard's unusual disdain for his character Opie hint at hidden tensions that lingered behind the scenes? As we explore the streets of Mayberry, we will uncover the surprising reasons behind Ron Howard's reported animosity toward his iconic role. The Andy Griffith Show, an American sitcom that aired during a time of social revolution, debuted on CBS on October 3, 1960, and continued until April 1, 1968. It spanned 8 seasons and became a beloved series that captured the hearts of audiences nationwide. Amidst a backdrop of immense change in music and television, the show stood out, offering a comforting, nostalgic portrayal of small-town life that resonated with millions. The series was originally inspired by an episode of The Danny Thomas Show. The first 159 episodes were in black and white, while the remaining 90 episodes transitioned to color. Created by Sheldon Leonard and Danny Thomas, the show starred Andy Griffith as Sheriff Andy Taylor, Don Knotts as Deputy Barney Fife, and Ron Howard as Opie Taylor. Andy Griffith played a significant role in shaping the show, drawing inspiration from his own childhood experiences in his hometown of Mount Airy, North Carolina. This personal connection brought authenticity to the show, with each character reflecting real people from Griffith's life, rather than being mere fictional creations. Residents of Mount Airy embraced the show, often referring to their town as Mayberry, further cementing the bond between the series and real-life America. Set in the 1960s, the show evoked a sense of nostalgia for a bygone era, capturing the essence of small-town life with its true-to-life representation and relatable dialogues. This nostalgic tone contributed to the show's enduring popularity, making it feel more like a reality show than a work of fiction. The Andy Griffith Show never ranked lower than 7th in the Nielsen ratings during its run, concluding its final season at number 1, which attests to its remarkable consistency and formidable presence in television history. TV Guide has ranked The Andy Griffith Show as both the 9th and 13th best series in American television history. By the time the series concluded, it had secured a number 1 spot, rivaled only by iconic series like I Love Lucy and Seinfeld, in terms of unwavering popularity and ratings. Following the pattern of successful 60s television, The Andy Griffith Show set a benchmark for what viewers expected, embodying the essence of that era's entertainment. Named after its star, Andy Griffith, and set in the sleepy fictional town of Mayberry, North Carolina, the show evokes a deep sense of nostalgia with its heartwarming storyline, endearing characters, and gentle humor. It resonated deeply with audiences, offering comfort during a turbulent decade. The story centers around Sheriff Andy Taylor, a widower whose vigilance and practical approach to life and law enforcement allowed him to combat and prevent petty crime, thereby establishing jurisdiction and addressing community issues. His ability to tackle the town's problems made him a beloved figure among the citizens of Mayberry, as he often directed his energy toward protecting them from their own folly. The Andy Griffith Show is celebrated for its wholesome and nostalgic portrayal of small-town life in the 1960s, evoking a sense of a bygone era. The series expertly blends comedy and drama, often addressing social issues and moral dilemmas within the context of a close-knit community. The show also leaned on popular stereotypes of rural and small-town life, with simple, sometimes narrow-minded characters populating the fictional town of Mayberry. Two notable characters who embody these stereotypes are Gomer Pyle, the gas station attendant played by Jim Nabors, and Otis Campbell, the town drunk portrayed by Hal Smith. Otis is known for his weekly drinking binges, which often lead him to lock himself in the town jail only to sober up and let himself out. Don Knotts brought to life the character of Barney Fife, Andy Taylor's inept deputy and hapless sidekick. Barney's overly earnest and misguided tactics often complicated the duo's attempts at maintaining order, adding a layer of humor to the series. Knotts owned the role, earning 4 Emmy Awards for his outstanding performance and impeccable comedic timing before departing the show in 1965. His decision to leave sparked much speculation at the time. After gaining popularity from the show, some fans speculated that Andy Griffith received offers to work in movies and pursue his own projects. Others believed that his earnings from the show were insufficient and that he desired something more. When Griffith left the show, Jack Burns replaced him and did an excellent job portraying the character Barney Fife. The show frequently featured storylines that revolved around Andy Taylor's parenting of his son, Opie, who was played by Ron Howard. Opie allowed Andy to showcase his parenting skills as he navigated the challenges of being a single parent. However, Opie wasn't the only person Andy worried about. His housekeeper, Aunt Bee, portrayed by Frances Bavier, was another source of concern. Although Aunt Bee added warmth and humor to the show, her ill-considered romances and adventures often worried her nephew. The Andy Griffith Show was so successful that it spawned 2 spin-offs, Gomer Pyle, USMC, and Mayberry RFD, which aired from 1964 to 1971. Gomer Pyle ran from 1964 to 1968, while Mayberry RFD continued from 1968 to 1971. In 1986, a reunion television movie titled Return to Mayberry was released. During its run, The Andy Griffith Show consistently ranked among the top-rated programs, despite not winning any awards. However, Don Knotts and Frances Bavier received a combined total of 6 Emmy Awards, making them 2 of the most beloved characters of all time. Andy Griffith left the show in its 8th season, and it transitioned into Mayberry RFD, with Ken Berry and Buddy Foster replacing Griffith and Howard in the new format. The show ran for 78 episodes, concluding in 1971 after 3 seasons. Despite the show's success and the strong bond between the characters, many fans were curious about the relationship between the cast members both on and off screen. The Andy Griffith Show captivated audiences for years, but it didn't stop people from wondering about the off-screen dynamics. As is often the case with popular sitcoms and films, there was much speculation about what went on behind the scenes, particularly regarding Andy Griffith. Fans frequently asked questions about Griffith's off-screen activities, wondering what he was like behind the scenes and how he interacted with the cast when the cameras weren't rolling. It became clear that the cast and crew of The Andy Griffith Show shared a genuine camaraderie. They got along like the best of family and friends, and the warmth and chemistry seen on screen were authentic. Andy Griffith was known for his playful and prankster nature, which endeared him even more to his fellow cast members. Andy Griffith had a close relationship with his co-star Don Knotts, who played the character Barney Fife. Behind the scenes, the cast shared a camaraderie filled with good-natured humor that extended into the show itself. The cast members often engaged in playful antics, adding a fun atmosphere to their work. Andy, known for pranking his co-stars, especially Don Knotts, wasn't immune to the jokes. The cast once stole his shoes, leaving him no choice but to wear his big sheriff boots home from the studio. In one memorable scene where Barney is supposedly hiding in a haunted house, Knotts decided to scare Griffith by unexpectedly appearing as a ghost. The genuine scare led to real laughter from Griffith. Ron Howard, who played Opie, also got in on the pranks. On one occasion, he hid a whoopee cushion on set, causing laughter when someone unsuspectingly sat on it. George Lindsay, who portrayed Gomer Pyle, was known for his comic timing and practical jokes as well. he once placed rubber snakes in his co-stars' dressing rooms. In the episode Runaway Kid, Opie and his friends played a prank on Sheriff Andy by moving his car in front of a fire hydrant, hoping he would get a ticket. There are many fascinating behind-the-scenes facts about The Andy Griffith Show that you may not know. For instance, Everett Sloan wrote a lyrical version of the theme song, The Fishing Hole, but the show's producers decided that whistling the tune was more effective. Earl Hagen and Herbert Spencer ended up performing the iconic whistling theme. Although the original version of the song is available on iTunes, it's hard to imagine the show with lyrics in the opening theme. During the filming of the opening credits, where Ron Howard, referred to as Ronnie at the time, strolls alongside Griffith by a lake, he is seen picking up a stone and seemingly throwing it into the water. However, that wasn't exactly what happened. According to biography.com, when the cast and crew went to Franklin Canyon to film the scene, they asked Howard to throw a stone into the lake, but he kept missing. Finally, assistant director Bruce Bilson had a prop man throw a rock simultaneously to create the famous splash. Don Knotts initially joined The Andy Griffith Show on a single-episode contract, with no plans for his character, Barney Fife, to become a series regular. However, after the first day of filming, executive producer Leonard Sheldon was so impressed with the chemistry between Knotts and Griffith that he offered Knotts a one-year contract, which eventually turned into a 5-year agreement. Many viewers may not realize that the warm relationship between Andy Griffith and Don Knotts on the show mirrored their real-life friendship. Interestingly, Barney often called Andy Ann on the show, which was a nickname Knotts created by shortening Andy and Griffith. This nickname became a regular part of the show's dialogue. In the early episodes, Barney and Andy were portrayed as cousins, a nod to the stereotypical Southern relationships that often helped people land small-town government jobs. However, this backstory was quickly dropped after a few references in the first season, and their relationship was redefined as lifelong friends. Did you know that Don Knotts left the show by accident? Both Knotts and Griffith initially agreed to a 5-year contract, but when the 5 years were up, Griffith decided to stay on the show, while Knotts had already signed a 3-year contract with Universal Studios, preventing him from continuing on the show with his friend. Remember the character Aunt Bee, Andy's aunt? The actress who portrayed her, Frances Bavier, was known for not having much of a sense of humor, and didn't find Andy Griffith's jokes funny. Born into a well-to-do family in New York, Bavier led a sophisticated life, attending Columbia University and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, before eventually joining The Andy Griffith Show. After her final episode on Mayberry RFD in 1972, Bavier left Hollywood and purchased a home in Siler City, North Carolina. Despite filming the show in California, Bavier noted, "I fell in love with North Carolina, all the pretty roadsides and trees." Similarly, Betty Lynn, who played Thelma Lou, also fell in love with North Carolina and decided to retire there. She lived in Los Angeles until 2006, but after attending Mayberry Days in Mount Airy, Andy Griffith's hometown, and the inspiration for Mayberry, she was charmed by the area and chose to make it her home. She decided to move permanently to North Carolina after her home was burglarized in Los Angeles. At one point, Leonard Sheldon, the creator of The Andy Griffith Show, considered removing Andy's name from the series. He later regretted naming the show after the star, initially wanting to call it Mayberry. Interestingly, the town of Mayberry was originally called Mount Pilot before being renamed. Even Andy Griffith's off-screen wife, Barbara, had a small role in the show, appearing in an episode titled Barney in the Choir. In the show, everyone knew Frances Bavier as Aunt Bee, but in the pilot episode, she played a local widow named Mrs. Henrietta Perkins. Joanna Moore was notable for being the first woman to wear pants on The Andy Griffith Show. The show also had its share of mysterious characters like Mr. Schwamp, whose real identity remains a mystery to this day. This silent citizen of Mayberry appeared in 26 episodes and even in spin-offs like Mayberry RFD and Gomer Pyle USMC. A few years ago, a fan club humorously claimed to reveal his true identity as an April Fool's joke. Another mysterious figure was a stand-in for Don Knotts, known only as Nice Dress Nell, a stylist who made her debut in the second episode of the series, The Manhunt, and appeared throughout the show's run, even in the finale of Mayberry RFD 8 years later. Interestingly, African-American actors were largely absent from the Andy Griffith Show, with one exception. Rocken Tarkington, a black actor, made a credited appearance in Season 7's Opie's Piano Lesson, making him the only African-American to have dialogue on the sitcom. Speaking of fathers, Ron Howard's dad, Rance Howard, drove the big black Cadillac belonging to the governor in the series. Rance frequently visited the set with his son Ron, who played Opie. Rance also had guest roles in 5 episodes of the show. Behind the scenes, the cast had an excellent relationship, which contributed to the show's success. The Andy Griffith Show stood out in the 1960s for its depiction of Mayberry as a town that embodied community warmth and simpler times. The humor and small-town atmosphere resonated with viewers, creating a welcoming and nostalgic feel that made the series a beloved classic. The Andy Griffith Show resonated with viewers because it featured a cast of memorable and lovable characters who felt like real people. Andy Griffith portrayed a wise and compassionate lawman who served as the show's moral compass. Don Knotts, playing the bumbling yet well-meaning deputy Barney Fife, provided comic relief and formed a hilarious dynamic with Andy. Other notable characters include Opie Taylor, Andy's young son, played by Ron Howard, and Aunt Bee, Andy's caring and sometimes eccentric aunt, portrayed by Frances Bavier. The show masterfully balanced humor and heart. The comic moments, often stemming from Barney's misadventures or the quirky townspeople, brought laughter to the audience. At the same time, the show addressed important themes like family, friendship, and community values, delivering heartfelt and meaningful stories that resonated with viewers of all ages. Despite its 1960s setting, the show exudes a nostalgic and timeless quality. It appealed to multiple generations thanks to its charm and enduring themes. The consistently strong writing, with well-crafted scripts blending humor, drama, and moral lessons, along with the exceptional acting of the talented cast, brought the characters to life. The Andy Griffith Show is known for its positive and uplifting tone, presenting a wholesome and idealized version of small-town life, where problems are solved with kindness, understanding, and common sense. The show's optimistic outlook and feel-good plots provided a comforting and enjoyable viewing experience. Mayberry, the fictional town at the heart of the series, stands out as more than just a setting. Inspired by Andy Griffith's hometown of Mount Airy, North Carolina, Mayberry became a beloved location in the minds of its audience, representing a simpler time when communities were closer knit. The town, with its 1930s vibe, resonated with viewers, capturing the charm and values of a bygone era. Mayberry was depicted as a peaceful, idyllic town, where neighbors knew and cared for each other, emphasizing community values and kindness. This portrayal of a tight-knit community created a sense of warmth and comfort for viewers. Mayberry has since become synonymous with a nostalgic and idealized vision of American life. At the core of the show is Andy Griffith, the widowed sheriff of Mayberry, who embodies the values and principles that made the town and the show so memorable. Born on June 1, 1926, Andy Griffith was known for his prudent and common-sense approach to life. He left a lasting mark on the entertainment industry with his versatility before passing away in 2012. Although celebrated for his acting prowess, Griffith's roots were in music, as showcased on The Andy Griffith Show. His first ambition was to become an opera singer, but that dream never materialized. Nonetheless, music remained a central part of his life. Raised as a Baptist, Griffith grew up listening to music and learned to sing and play the trombone, from a minister at Grace Moravian Church. He also developed an interest in art and participated in high school drama. Griffith went on to attend the University of North Carolina, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in music in 1949. During his time at UNC, he served as the president of the University of Carolina chapter of Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia, a fraternity for men in music. After college, Andy Griffith taught music and drama at Goldsboro High School in North Carolina for 3 years. He then set out with his new wife, Barbara Edwards, to pursue a career as an entertainer. Around the same time, Griffith began writing and flexing his musical talents in Broadway's Destry Rides Again in 1958, earning a Tony nomination and winning the Theatre World Award for his debut roles on Broadway. In 1957, under the direction of Elia Kazan, Griffith starred in the film A Face in the Crowd, where he also sang and portrayed a jailbird and amateur vocalist. Griffith's most iconic television role was as Sheriff Andy Taylor in The Andy Griffith Show, which aired from 1960 to 1968. The show, set in the fictional town of Mayberry, highlighted Griffith's talents as both an actor and a singer, with several episodes featuring his singing. He also recorded the show's theme song, The Fishing Hole, though he did not perform the catchy whistle-only opening. In 1998, Griffith reflected on how important music was to his show, and he went on to release albums featuring both country and gospel songs. In 1996, he released I Love to Tell the Story, 25 Timeless Hymns, an album of gospel songs that won a Grammy for Best Southern Gospel, Country Gospel, or Bluegrass Gospel album. More musical honors followed, including his induction into the Country Gospel Music Hall of Fame in 1999 and the Christian Music Hall of Fame and Museum in 2007. In 2008, the North Carolina native teamed up with country singer Brad Paisley for the music video of Paisley's single, Waiting on a Woman, which won the Country Music Association's Video of the Year award. While pursuing his music career, Griffith also made appearances in several sitcoms. He was a regular alongside Don Knotts on NBC's The Steve Allen Show from 1959 to 1960. After The Andy Griffith Show ended in 1968, he appeared in several feature films including Hearts of the West in 1975. In 1972, he formed a production company, Andy Griffith Enterprises, which produced projects such as the 1974 TV movie Winter Kills, in which he also starred. Griffith received a nomination in 1981 for his supporting role in the TV movie Murder in Texas. However, Griffith's life took a drastic turn when he developed Guillain-Barré syndrome, a crippling muscular disease that left him partially paralyzed for 3 months, forcing him to pause his career. After 6 months of intense treatment and private rehabilitation, Griffith made a full recovery and returned to the screen in 2000. He underwent quadruple heart bypass surgery, and in 2012, a heart attack claimed his life, leading to his burial on his beloved Roanoke Island. Throughout the filming of The Andy Griffith Show, fans noticed the chemistry between Griffith and Don Knotts on screen, but many wondered what their relationship was like off-screen. Did the two share a bond beyond the show? Indeed, Griffith and Knotts had a close friendship behind the cameras. Their enduring friendship, which lasted for decades, began in the 1950s when they first met on Broadway. They reunited when Griffith went to Hollywood to film a TV pilot about a small-town sheriff. Knotts called Griffith and asked if the sheriff could use a deputy, and thus an iconic partnership was born. Their on-screen chemistry as Sheriff Andy Taylor and Deputy Barney Fife was rooted in a real-life bond, turning the show into a timeless study of human friendship. Despite their roles in the quaint town of Mayberry, both actors came from vastly different backgrounds. They grew up in the South, struggled through the Great Depression, and lived in poverty before finding success on Broadway. Griffith, raised in North Carolina, even slept in a dresser drawer as a baby because his family couldn't afford a crib. The two remained close friends until Knotts passed away in 2006. While Griffith had a great relationship with Knotts, both on and off screen, his relationship with Frances Bavier, who played Aunt Bee, was not as harmonious. Although Bavier didn't get along with most of the cast, her behind-the-scenes relationship with Griffith became a subject of intrigue for decades. Fans never fully understood why Bavier harbored resentment toward Griffith. The tension between them stemmed from their contrasting approaches to work and personal interactions. Bavier's aloofness and uncompromising attitude clashed with Griffith's relaxed and outgoing personality. Before her death, Bavier reached out to Griffith, expressing regret for their strained relationship and acknowledging her difficult behavior. Thankfully, they were able to reconcile and find peace before it was too late, suggesting Bavier had some regrets about her conduct during the show's filming. Bavier had a complex relationship with her role on the show, feeling both proud and overlooked for her dramatic talents as a New York actress. Despite this, she was the only original cast member to continue for 2 additional seasons in the spin-off. Mayberry RFD off-screen. There was occasional tension between Bavier and other production staff members. Her sensitivity often led to cautious communication from the crew. Griffith once admitted in a 2003 appearance on Larry King Live that he had clashed with Bavier during the series' run. Andy revealed that Bavier had called him 4 months before her death to apologize for being difficult during the series' run. Bavier, who portrayed Aunt Bee for 10 years longer than any other actor on the show, won an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Comedy Actress. She decided to retire from acting in 1972 after her time on Mayberry RFD, and settled in Siler City, North Carolina, after falling in love with the area's pretty roads and trees. She lived alone in a spacious 2-story home, which she rarely left, primarily occupying a large back room sparsely furnished with a bed, desk, television, and an end table filled with black licorice and her glasses. Andy only mentioned Opie's mother once, even though she was never seen throughout the show. In an episode named Wedding Bells for Aunt Bee, Andy unexpectedly experiences nostalgia and shares with Opie the depth of his love for her. That was the only time Andy ever talked about her. However, in an episode of The Danny Thomas Show, which spawned The Andy Griffith Show, Andy mentioned that she died when Opie was just a tiny baby. Opie is a household name, and everyone remembers Ron Howard as the Little Redhead. For fans, Sheriff Taylor's son was an on-screen child, but when you think about it, Opie Taylor is probably the only Opie you've ever known. So how did the iconic sitcom character get such a unique name? Ron Howard, who portrayed Opie, once explained the origin of his on-screen name. It was inspired by bandleader and actor Opie Taft Cates, a popular clarinetist from swing-era Arkansas. Andy Griffith and the show's producer, Sheldon Leonard, were big fans of Cates' music, so they decided to honor him. Ron Howard will forever be known as Opie Taylor. He was just 6 years old when he got the role in The Andy Griffith Show, and has since done well for himself as a director, producer, screenwriter, and actor. He received many awards for his work, including the National Medal of Arts. Howard married Cheryl Alley in 1975, and they had 4 children, including twin daughters who became actresses. Howard has mentioned that he faced bullying in school due to his portrayal of Opie, primarily because Opie rhymed with dopey. He felt embarrassed to be an actor among his peers and didn't discuss his work on TV with other kids. However, Howard is grateful for the show's impact on his career. The Andy Griffith Show set him on a path to success and will forever remain one of the best TV shows for many fans, no matter the generation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to tell us what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting content like this.